Welcome to Thoughts Revolution Philosophy. We're about to explore a pretty mind-bending idea. What if our thoughts and feelings aren't just stuck inside our heads? What if they can actually leave a real physical imprint on the world around us?
Think about it. We're surrounded by stuff all day, right? Your phone, the chair you're sitting on, the books on your shelf. We just see them as passive, lifeless things. But what if they're not? What if there's some kind of hidden connection between us and, well, all the matter in our lives?
Just for a second, think about something you really cherish. Maybe it's a gift from someone special or an old family heirloom. It feels different, doesn't it? It has this certain weight to it, like it holds a memory and an essence. So the big question is that all in our heads, or is there something else going on here?
Well, to even begin to answer that, we've got to dive into a pretty subtle but incredibly powerful force. According to the source material we're looking at, it's something we all possess. Let's try to decode this idea, sometimes called human electricity.
All right, so let's get into the heart of it. The core concept from our source is a thing called Manavya Vidyut. Now, it's described as a bioenergetic field. Try to think of it less as some kind of metaphor and more like a literal personal aura of energy that we're all constantly generating just by thinking and feeling.
So how does this human electricity actually work? Well, apparently it's generated whenever we focus our consciousness on something, and it gets super intensified by strong emotions. You know that feeling, right? The almost tangible energy in a room during a huge argument, or on the flip side, a massive celebration. The idea is that this energy isn't just stuck inside our skin, it radiates outward. And this is the key part. It can be transferred to other things just through touch and intention. The source material actually has this beautiful way of putting it. The idea is that our thoughts aren't just these silent, private little events happening in our heads. Nope, they're active vibrations, actual currents of energy that are trying to resonate with the world outside of us. So, in this way of thinking, no thought ever really just vanishes.
Okay, so if we're constantly radiating this energy with every thought, where does it all go? And this is where it gets really fascinating. This is the part of the theory that explains how seemingly lifeless objects can basically become memory banks for our emotions.
So here's the breakdown of how this whole dynamic is supposed to work. Think of your mind as a projector. It's constantly sending out these energetic signals, and they're encoded with your thoughts, your feelings, everything. Then you have the inanimate objects all around us, and in this model, they're the receivers. They actually absorb and store these imprints, becoming a kind of medium that holds our unique informational signature.
And here's the crucial point. The matter that makes up, say, your desk or your clothes or even the walls of your home, it's not seen as this solid, impenetrable barrier. Instead, it's viewed as being porous, kind of like a sponge, just soaking in all the subtle energies it bumps into day in and day out.
But how? How does this imprinting actually happen? I know it sounds a little abstract, but the source actually lays out a pretty clear mechanism for how this energy gets transferred from our minds into matter. So let's break that down.
The source describes this as a pretty straightforward four-step process. First up, it all kicks off with intention. A really powerful thought or a strong feeling. Then you've got projection, which is when our mind shoots that energy outwards, almost like a tiny radio transmitter. After that comes absorption, where a nearby object just takes that energy in. And finally, you get resonance. The object itself actually starts to vibrate with that new information, holding on to that emotional signature.
Most of us go through life with a pretty simple assumption. What we think is our own business. Our thoughts are private, right? They're totally contained inside our own heads.
But this theory suggests something way more radical. It's proposing that our thoughts are constantly leaking out, leaving a real physical trace on the world around us. It means your inner state is literally being imprinted onto your outer environment. Wild, right?
You can kind of picture it like this. An object might start out with just a neutral baseline charge, but something that's always handled with love and care, like a kid's favorite teddy bear, well, that accumulates a high positive charge. On the other hand, an object that's in a really stressful environment, maybe handled with anger, could take on a high negative charge. It literally becomes a record of the emotions it's been exposed to.
So, what's the big picture here? Where does all this lead? If we just accept this idea, even as a thought experiment, the implications are absolutely massive. It doesn't just change how we look at objects, it changes how we see our entire place in the universe.
There's this quote from the source that just captures this shift in perspective perfectly. Suddenly, the world isn't just a random collection of stuff anymore. It transforms into this living library where every single object on every shelf holds a story, a feeling, an echo of a conscious moment.
Okay, so why should this matter to any of us? Well, think about it. It suggests that the things we decide to keep in our lives can surround us with old, maybe even stagnant energy. It means our homes can become these reservoirs for the emotional atmosphere we create, whether that's good or bad. It means that a gift can literally carry the love of the person who gave it. And it means we are in this constant, unseen conversation with our environment.
And all of this really leaves us with one final, powerful question to think about. Every single day, with every thought and every emotion, you're projecting energy. You are leaving an imprint. So, what story are you writing into the world around you?
These insights are taken from the renowned Hindi book Manviya Vidyut Ke Chamatkar by Yug Rishi Pandit Shri Ram Sharma Acharya.
Subscribe to Thoughts Revolution Philosophy